Hi there, welcome to 108live.radio. This is Kazway Cassiopeia. I am a tarot card reader, artist, creator, and publisher of tarot. I am also a psychologist and energy healer. I have my own practice in Johannesburg, South Africa as a life coach. And I'd like to welcome you to my show, Interactive Tarot. The show is not only about tarot cards, although bits and pieces of tarot-related topics will be covered, along with carrying out live tarot readings. It is just simply full of insights on way of life, philosophy, science, and spirituality, most of the time involving guests who are in the field of health, wellness, and spirituality. And today's guest is Jason. Hi, Jason.
Hi there, Kazway.
Jason plays Tibetan singing bowls. He carries out a sound journey.
Correct.
And that's what you listened as the show started. So welcome to Interactive Tarot, and it is aired every Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. live here on 108live.radio. Stay tuned in. There's going to be a lot of live Tibetan singing bowl demonstrations today.
Yes.
So please enjoy. So, okay, well, we got Atma as a
part of the furniture.
Oh, it's not furniture, but he's the producer of 108live.radio. So, yes, Jason, where do I start? Where can we start? I would like to know how you started doing Tibetan singing bowl. Like, you must be quite a musical anyway to start out all
I've
this.
always loved music. I was privileged enough to go to India. It's about 10 years ago now, where I bought my first bowl. And I wanted to learn more about it. I knew how to play it, and it sings for virtually everybody, the bowl that I bought. And I attended a sound journey which was held by my teacher, whose name is Alice Huller, and most of the bowls belong to her. She graciously let me use them.
Where is she from?
She's from Johannesburg.
Okay.
And basically the bowls keep on teaching me. I've learned things about them, they teach me. The bowls to me are like sentient beings. They emit sounds that still the mind and just allow total relaxation.
I have been to your session along with doing cacao ceremony,
right?
Heart opening cacao ceremony, and that's where I got introduced to it was introduction. It was a second or third time I experienced it, but I found it quite healing, far more healing than just listening to music. There was some kind of a vibrational, physical healing that went on within.
The bowls themselves emit frequencies which range in tone between like 2 or 3 different frequencies, but they also talk within another. They harmonize. But what it does as well is the sounds themselves, being vibrational, penetrate to the cellular level.
Yes, and you have shown us the demonstration of how that resonance or that vibration occurs within our cells. Although listeners can't really see it, I think they can still hear it if you would like to demonstrate.
The human body is made up of 80% water. Whales communicate hundreds of kilometers apart in the ocean by emitting sound waves. So because we have so much water in us, that you hear it, but you also hear it through your skin. Your cells sense them. I'm going to give a demonstration which I did earlier with the water in a bowl.
Yeah, there is a bowl about 15 centimeter diameter, and water is about 80% full, and he's just stroking the rim of the bowl, and the water just starts vibrating and starts jumping around within the bowl. And it looks almost like boiling.
It almost looks like the water is boiling. The sound vibrations start going backwards and forwards, and the water starts lifting off itself.
And that's what happens.
If you imagine this is a cell in your body,
Yes.
there's more water there than there is nucleus and membrane. And basically what it does is when you hear the sounds, when you feel the sounds, it actually acts as a release inside your body. So if you've got a deep felt trauma and things like you've pushed down, and Deepak Chakra talks about cellular memory. This is the gift of the bowls that allow you to release.
That is so amazing, and you can really, really feel it when you are actually middle of it. Would you mind doing some demonstration, like play music?
Sure.
The way you like it, it's your show. It feels like being in a temple, somewhere sacred is what I mean. And it sounds like, not that I really know, but it sounds like the sound of universe.
That's a very good description.
Thank you.
It's like they produce an sound.
Sound, yeah. I usually start my show talking something about a tarot, and I thought, okay, I shall talk about something that is related to sound, but I couldn't really come up with anything that has like with a sound, like specifically, like I believe each card will have association or attribution to sound or some kind of vibrational, attribution, right. But I couldn't really think of anything. However, what came to my mind was the card universe, and it is about the universe is about how life is, that there is actually no purpose in life. The purpose itself in living, life is born just to reach death, and so many people wonder, what is my purpose of life? What is it that I'm supposed to do? Actually, it really doesn't matter. The ultimate purpose of life actually to just live. It's beyond the liberation of a meaning in life itself.
Right. I think it's also about just being in the present moment and experiencing what is.
Yes.
And sound only exists in the now.
Thank you. Yes, that's exactly the thought that came to me. That when I did a little bit of a meditation with a friend of ours, Shannon, who's a shaman,
Right.
and when we were doing Om chanting, the place I could see was the universe, and the sound that came to me was a bell sound actually. And I was living here. I actually kept my eyes open just to see, kept my physical eyes in focus that I'm seeing the wall, but I
Right.
still could see the vision of the universe. Not that I really know how universe looks like, but that's how I felt. And what I could hear was that exactly this kind of a singing bowl type of vibration.
It makes perfect sense what you're saying, because the sounds that they say the original sound was Om,
Wow.
according to the Hindu and the Tibetan tradition. But sound is the strongest sense that we have. We can actually, as before we're even born, we're starting to be influenced by sound and noise and just vibrational sounds. And they say that one of the last senses to leave us when we die is the sense of hearing. So what you're saying is very true. When you remember a song, you can remember a song from your youth.
Yes.
And when you hear that sound, it transports you back to
Yes.
that time. You can get the taste, the smell, the emotional feeling.
Emotional feelings is amazing. It's like a time machine.
Exactly. That's the gift of sound.
Oh, that is so amazing.
These bowls, to me, as I said before, are like sentient beings. They are inviting from an emptiness, they come full sound and back down to emptiness. So as a vibrational tool, they are fantastic. It comes from nothing to a full-blown sound and then back down. But they also have an interaction with the other bowls where you can get the frequencies blend into each other and you get a new frequency coming through. So the bowls are for me unique in terms of what they can offer and what they do.
And how does it take a talent to play it, if you know what I mean?
It does take lots of practice. My teacher taught me for 2 years before I started playing the bowls for people.
Oh.
It's learning, because the bowls train you. I learned, for example, the gong that you heard. I heard as a straightforward gong when I was taught, which is just basically and playing around. I picked up.
Oh, you spin it around. Yeah, it makes difference. It makes a different sound.
It brings in a whole new level of sound.
Yeah, it sounds clearer and deeper.
And I think it's also the nature of how we hear things in waves. And if you ever look at a sound wave, like on the computer, it undulates. And what that does is it stills the mind from thinking. You stop thinking and you experience the sound.
And because the thoughts are just on the surface, on the top of, say, like there is a vision of you slice ocean,
Right.
and on top of
You've
that
got
is
the
the waves,
waves.
and that's our thoughts just chatting all the time. But there are deeper consciousness, and like different wavelength as well. That alpha wave, theta wave. I guess theta is for sleeping, I guess, or
Theta, delta.
yes, theta, delta, alpha, and beta is where we are in the conscious mind.
So that's what the sounds do. They take you out of that mind thought, beta, and you start first listening, but then you stop listening and start listening through virtually your skin. You hear it, you feel it.
I hope you guys are all getting this. So it goes like, Yes, through what is
I'll
made
give a
of a brass?
demonstration in the bowl, and you'll hear how it comes from nothing. It goes to full volume and then back down to nothing.
Okay, let's listen to
What
this.
you're listening to as well, these bowls vibrate. The difference when I do a group sound journey, I set up in the middle or to the side and people lie around. When I do a personal sound journey, that's when the bowls are placed around the person and actually on you. So it gives you an internal massage at the same time as the sound emitting. Listen to how the sound develops. And what it's doing is stilling that brain, so you actually experience the sound.
You can really experience it. You can feel. You know, the sound itself is an art.
Yes.
You know, there are different. No, not sound. I don't know if there are different frequencies that starts becoming harmonized. If
You do. I'm playing, like when I played the opening thing, was two bowls that are tuned to the sound of F.
Okay.
But when they undulate, just for looking for a description, between each other, you get a wow effect, which is wow, 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 wow.
Does this like go back to I guess you could say the truth that everything around us is a vibration and it's like vibrating.
Everything is
Everything is
vibrational, because I
vibration.
mean, people give me feedback from my sound journey. Some people see colors. Colors are vibration.
Yes.
Some people get out of body experiences and travel into places that you can't even imagine, because that's what it does. It opens up those channels.
It really does carry me into the universe, and as I said, I have no idea what universe looks like, but it has the feeling of almost eternity.
Yes.
Like eternity is somewhere that is just so vast. It's dark but full of light, if you know what I mean.
Right.
It's the kind of the colorful visual sensations at the same time. The feeling of eternity. I don't even know what that feeling is like what that
But
sense
it opens
is.
that door of
Opens
perception.
yes. It does open up consciousness to
Right.
different level.
Right.
From it separates it puts us or puts me out of like daily life, and it puts me somewhere more calm and deep, somewhere that is
They
vast.
can be very powerful in shifting things, and if you're not used to it, sometimes people that have experienced like stuff and they've really pushed it down can be quite a release and quite powerful in that respect. It can be unnerving because suddenly you're just flooded with emotion.
Oh, sure.
Because it's released that. One thing that the bowls do, and I tell people after having a sound journey, is drink lots of water, but also you'll notice that you're urinating more often than not. What the bowls do on a secondary level is stimulate the kidneys. And the kidneys are the quickest way for you to expel whatever has been released.
Yes, and it's actually water element in Chinese medicine as well. So it makes sense.
And Masaru Emoto did a lot of work on how you program water.
Yes, yeah.
So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it is all vibrational. The sound, colors, what we are made of, our cells, molecules, atom. I mean, atoms are composed of particles that are just pure energy, vibration, and that's what we are composed of. And I was thinking, after receiving the full sound journey session a few months ago from you, that it must have such a prominent effect actually on cancer cells. Like cancer cells are created constantly in our bodies because
Right.
of all the exposure from stress to additives to food, the medicines, all the chemicals that we are exposed to. Cancer is so much more common.
There
And-
has been research done
Oh,
on the
has it?
bowls for people going through cancer treatment and stuff
Okay,
like that.
interesting, because I thought, I would love to read a report on that, because I thought pharmaceutical companies might not allow that sort of a study that, they would say, well, only medication will help.
It depends where you take your investigation, because I have heard in places like Germany and that, in like open heart surgery, they have people listening to this kind of
Oh my
music just to get everybody on the same wavelength and calm while doing things like that.
Wow, okay. Oh, so it's for the medical team also.
Absolutely.
Ah,
We are all human beings and we all go through the human condition. So, yeah.
Okay.
absolutely.
Oh, that is so interesting that modern Western medical people.
Are investigating it now. Yes,
that's-
it's becoming more and more apparent.
Wow.
From my personal experience, I mean, the biggest crowd that I ever did it for was about 60 people. It was a yoga focus day.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, is this going to have an effect? And 2 weeks after I did the sound journey, somebody that was there traced me through the yoga teacher. And they suffered from deep vein thrombosis. That's swelling of the ankles and the legs, and it can be a very painful, uncomfortable experience. This person went home that night, and she said she was sitting down watching TV, looked down and saw her ankles for the first time in years.
Oh.
What had happened was she relaxed to the stage where her body healed itself.
Yes.
Now, it didn't last forever, but for that moment, she noticed a difference.
Wow.
Like I'm really like taken by this, because what we practice here in this center or in Krishna consciousness is Mahamantra meditation. So it's what's known as transcendental sound vibration.
Right.
Now I remember when I first came into Krishna consciousness, I saw this like poster. They had what's known like the mandala eggs, right? How the universe is depicted in Vedic astrology. So where we are is like we are in the middle of this universal egg, if you may.
Right.
And then they had like the Maha Mantra going out. So apparently, as everything is a sound vibration, certain vibrations can't leave this make, right? But then there is a vibration, or the transcendental sound vibration, which is known as the Maha Mantra, which can actually penetrate through that and
Wow.
go out, in fact, out of the material creation, as it were. Yeah. So,
That makes full sense.
mm,
Sometimes at the end of every month, I go to a Buddhist center where we do an Om chanting and then followed by the sound journey.
yes,
It works on that principle as
Yeah.
well. Opening up,
yes,
releasing, and then the sounds can penetrate even further.
Not to change the subject, but in Japan, when we go to Buddhism temple, there are usually two statues of. Well, it looks like a demonic figure, but there is no such thing as a demon and an angel in that culture. Everything is all, well, more or less sacred. They just have a different. They're just different. Some may appear scary. Some may be more gentle, but it's not about evil and good, if you know what I mean. And one has its mouth open, like ah, and the other statue will have its mouth closed as a and together say and comes from the continent, which means through China, through the continent of sound.
Right.
And also, and that's the statue also happens in Shinto shrine as well. And usually the statues are of animals. But a Buddhism temple, they're more like, as I said, if you show it to Western people, they will appear more demonic. They have a human figure, but they have their wide eyes, bit scary. looks scary, but it's still not evil. But they say that as I said, aun, that aun sound came from the continent, and also if you go all the way to the other side of the continent, what we call continent is that big Eurasia continent. In Greek, there's alpha and omega. Again, it's om. It must come from the same place, if you know what I mean.
The commonality between all of the religions is quite incredible, yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That one is aum, un. There is the other is alpha and omega, and this is like a few thousand years apart as far as the cultural development goes.
Yes. Yes.
So somebody must have traveled, or they all got information from the same source. Who knows?
I think the information came from the same source.
Yes.
The difference was in mankind, what we did is we kept it. And we said, we've got the information, we're right, you're wrong. And there's a competition.
Oh, that's sad, hey? When it all came from the same place.
In what's known as the history of the world, or the history of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees, it describes how people moved from different places because of different interactions and things like that. But everybody comes from one place, not as in one place geographically, but one place spiritually and culturally.
But then, speaking of which, I am from Japan, now living in South Africa. When I first came to South Africa, I felt that I came back to my DNA's home. It was like a beyond human past life. It felt like there was like a vibration that I know this place. Like my blood knows this continent. It felt like I came home, and
You kind of redialed.
I felt like I went back a million years ago, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it sounds true what you're saying as well, because I mean I'm sure you've experienced it. After the rains first fall in Africa, you get a smell coming from the earth, which you don't get anywhere else.
Right now my arms, I don't know what I feel like this longing to hear these bowls.
Let's hear more
like
of
it's
it.
like I feel this pulling sensation.
Yeah.
Like
The body and the mind wanting to have a healing. Since this is a radio show, I'm trying to come up with words to describe this, because I can't just say wow, feel this, listen to this, trying to describe, but it is beyond description, because the sound of the bowls actually speaks directly to the being. It's
The things that are used to bring the sounds forth are called inviters. You're inviting the bowl to release that sound.
And that release is actually, physical. Not that we need to have physical evidence, but it's just it's a demonstration of how we are actually connected physically, like a demonstration of the connection between the physical existence and energy. And nowadays, most of people know and talk about, oh, we are all energy. But do we really know? Like, do people really know what that means?
That's a good question. I think the common factor between all of it is water.
Mm.
That is what ties us to each other,
Yes.
to plants, to animals, to the planet.
Yes, and without water, well, none of us would have taken form that we have. I am not really sure what the definition of a life is. According to biology, if there is anybody who can come up with a perfect one sentence definition of a life, that person will get a Nobel Prize. And life is that difficult to describe.
Right.
So there is no specific form of life if we look at it from a big universal, well, like from the aspect of universe. Maybe there are life forms without water out there somewhere, but at least on the earth, here on the earth,
all the evidence that we have found,
yes,
life depends on
water. Yeah, whether it's plant, animal, humans, definitely. I mean, 80% of us is water, and the earth itself is covered by 80% of water too, isn't it?
Yes.
In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it kind of explains that in the different planetary systems, just as how here we have like an ocean of salt water or water. There are planets where you have like acid kind of oceans, you have milk ocean, you have alcohol ocean. It's like it sounds really far out, like oil ocean, all that. So like, wow. So you can imagine how the body, would be subject to, like how it would survive. It would depend on the makeup of the planet that you're in. But then, apparently the consciousness or the conscious element, the actual living entity, is essentially the same, made of eternity, knowledge and bliss. Apparently.
There is one card in tarot called the High Priestess.
Yes.
And High Priestess is about subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is also, it's 90% of our mind. But there is it's a water element card as well. And how important it is that we connect to our subconscious mind to know ourselves. And our being is a flowing being like water. So what the card like depicts or not talks about, but you know what I mean.
Yes, no, it makes sense as well, because as I said, the vibrational effect is what stills the mind, and you then experience that sound.
I do wanna show my
like since you played those bowls, I just kind of sank into myself, and I was just shoulders down, relaxed.
I feel there is like a very grounding effect, and I have created my own tarot deck, and this is a card of the High Priestess. It's water element, and it's moon card. That's very much into the realm of subconscious mind. And I have drawn these circles to show there's a light vibration, a sound vibration. She holds a bow, and an arrow. And the arrow is the light that goes into the water, and it starts creating these
similar
waves.
to what you see, the pattern in the bowl when you play with the water.
Yeah.
Yes.
And because she is an enchantress, and she enchants people with she charms people, the universe, with a sound and light, and she's the subconscious mind that spreads around. So you wanna take a picture of that? So I wasn't thinking of this card at all before the show. However, as hearing more of your demonstration, it really makes me think of,
intuitively drew you there.
yeah, it's like and we talk about water. It all is connected.
Absolutely. Part of what you were just saying there, the intuitive part, when I learned how to play the bowls, it was very structured. You played this bowl, then that one, and the other one. When I started playing these on my own, I preferred an intuitive one where I feed into the energies that I'm feeling as well and respond with the bowls that I know sound like that. So no sound journey is ever the same. It's not like a one set thing that you hear each time. It's different. So intuitively, that's how that works. So it makes full sense what you just said about that card as well.
I really like what he just said, because that's how I've been feeling about my creative process and making music recently. Like, it has to be intuitive, and it shouldn't be like loopy. As in, nowadays everything is loopy. It's like so loopy, and it's really frustrating. It's like you're trapped. Yeah.
I think we humans do trap ourselves in a lot of things that we should,
In fact, one popular genre of music is called trap.
Oh, yeah?
So I guess that's it. We're trapped.
But we can release.
We can
release. Yeah. And as I was talking about the universe card, was the releasing ourselves from the concept of a meaning of life. And that leads us to embracing our life as a joyous experience.
To experience it as opposed to be in the headspace is to actually feel it.
Yeah.
And that's the gift of when you wake up to that.
Yes.
It's a gift.
And music is one of the things that lead people to get to that mental state.
Actually, I'm just thinking about the past week. I've just been thinking about how each day is new, but it's almost as though we are trapped in a loop. Again, going back to the loop. But then, like how you're saying, being in the moment and experiencing the moment is the actual thing, the gift,
Yeah.
That's the gift.
Like right here, right now. Then it's not as loopy as you may think it to be. Because the pattern changes, then becomes something totally different.
Also, past and future are one of the biggest illusions that a human has created. I mean, there isn't past, there isn't future. I think it's important to plan a few things, and to cherish what happened is also beautiful, but to hold on to the past, or just focusing on the future and keep chasing what is not even right in front of our eyes, that might stop us or hinder us from living here and now. And nowadays I have started doing like a little bit of a more active meditation, so to speak.
Right.
That every step that I take for walking, not just even like going for a walk, but like getting from this room to another room, just doing even a chore, just feel the connection between the foot and the ground. Yeah, and also like eating and drinking. It's like every sip of whatever that I'm taking, every bite of whatever I'm taking, I shall just enjoy it. I still need to train my mind to enjoy it, not just eat it because it's sustenance, but it's because something that I enjoy, and I just enjoy, like eating and walking.
Absorb the whole experience.
Yeah, and I'm trying to train the mind to do that. It sounds quite silly. It should come naturally, but it actually isn't. I often have kept myself so busy that, I got to do this. This has to get done. So, I would eat while I'm walking. And before I know it, it might have become sustenance. My food has become sustenance. But did I really enjoy it?
Did you get the full nourishment from it? Because part of the gift is the taste.
Yeah.
And that's something that I experienced recently when I came here with my son on his birthday. To taste food made with love, you can taste the difference.
Yeah. Yes.
So do you record Do you make recordings of your singing bowls?
I'm looking for the perfect medium to try and record it, because you lose a lot of the frequency.
Because I was listening to that, like you pick up some other things, like the table, you can pick it up. So I was like, how would you record these bowls? Would you have to suspend them? Like, I was just thinking about that, you know.
It's a challenge
Yeah.
which I'm trying to get on top of. You need a very good mic system
would,
to
yeah.
actually pick them up.
Mm.
Especially because when I play with big gongs as well.
Yeah.
So you might be tuned into the bowls, but then the gongs distort.
Gongs flood it out. And
But if you tune into the gongs, the bowls start distorting. So it's,
Maybe you'd have to like record it in separate
And
rooms.
yes.
You'd have to
And
run
then-
to this
and
room,
then
run
splice
to
it
that, this
together.
room.
Well,
Yeah.
people should really experience it.
Mm.
So can we share your contact information? Like, how can people contact you?
Sure, my email address is dstress, D for Delta, STRESS, JK@gmail.com. I also have a Facebook site, which is dstress, DSTRESS, @dstressjk. Otherwise, my cell number is 084 378 7377.
Do you have a website?
I don't have one at the moment.
Okay.
Can we have you do some demonstration again, if you don't mind?
With pleasure.
this is just such an out of this world experience.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know, and looking at the bowls, they look handcrafted actually.
The ones that I use are hand beaten. You can see that by the beat marks in
gonna
the
say,
side
yes.
of the bowls. And the bowls themselves actually predate Buddhism. They originally were formed by the Bon people that lived in the Tibetan region. They were the original founders of the 7 chakras, corresponding to the 7 planets. And the bowls themselves are made from the 7 noble metals as well.
Oh,
The Bon apparently also used to use meteorite found in the Himalayas, and the sounds would literally take you out of your body.
oh my gosh, I
And
want one.
The Bon still exist. They were
Yes.
absorbed into the Buddhism. But apparently there are some people that still are practicing the Bon tradition. They're shamanic,
Yes, yes.
but they were master metallurgists as well. They were the founders of these things.
See, for me, there is no association between like, well, there, it's a lie. Okay, it's a lie. That it's like a Buddhism actually had no association to anything because the Buddha made it. You know, well, it's about a detachment. It's not about a thing. It's not about like concept. You know, although Buddhism nowadays, like a bowl is definitely part of the ritual, like a daily practice, but I didn't think that like a Buddha, you know, Gautama Siddhartha actually used the bowl
It was probably around during his time.
around.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It just came into my mind, the Das Avatar, that he's one of the 10 principal incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen that. Yeah.
They were probably around during his time. The bowls themselves, what I can pick up, were basically came into the West, from the West into the East, when the Dalai Lama came through.
Mm.
People used to say, and they were very private about it, that they were more for eating and for begging and things like that. But the bowls, as you can hear, have their own voice.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I usually do like a short, quick tarot reading for my guests, which is like I usually just have a guest draw one card. Would you like it?
I'd really like to see what,
Okay,
what comes
cool.
up.
Let me just shuffle the cards quickly. But it has been just really awesome
I'm like out of my head right now.
Well, you're a musician as well, so you appreciate music and the sound like quite deeply. I can almost see like tears in your eyes. Okay, pick whatever the card you feel like. Oh, 8 of Wands. It's quite high vibrational card.
Yeah.
I was actually like looking at this earlier today, and
Let me
funny
have
that
a
you.
look.
Oh, sorry. There we go. Yeah, it's the card of a spirit that is in alignment with 8 Sephirot, which is attributed to Mercury. So it's your spirit being in resonance with high intelligence, and plans start working out. You follow your intuition. Intuition, a sense of a like a logical intuition that what I shall do, like how do I explain this? There is like a harmony between logic and intuition.
Okay.
And I believe that's what you do with your
Well, that's
ball
very
playing.
interesting that I picked that.
But it is. It's like swift. The title of the card is swiftness,
Right.
and it's the mind working quickly as much as the spirit going with it.
flowing with it.
Yeah,
Okay,
flowing with it.
That's great.
Yeah, and you can see that it's those are ones, but it's more has turned into more of a like a lightning. And you know, the light and sound, as we talked about, all frequency. What is not frequency in this world? It is, but light and sound, colors.
It's all vibrational. It's vibrations, everything.
Yeah, and some things are easier to detect, or some easier to see and experience than.
And that's why I think the sounds that they make are incredible in terms of one of our highest senses is that of hearing. It's one of the first senses that we develop before we are even born.
And that's what we also react when we are in the womb of our mothers, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, like even modern science picks up the brainwave. You know, it's all vibrational. And we can pick up so much more. Our subconscious mind picks up so much more than what we are aware of. Adma, would you like to add anything?
If you were in my head right now, you'd be hearing la 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 la.
So I think I'm going to be closing off the show. And if you don't mind, you can do the last demonstration for us.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So now it's time.
Thank you very much for
thank you so
inviting
much.
me and hosting
Cool.
me here.
It's
Both
been
of
great
you.
having you.
Awesome. So, well, if you have any question, well, listeners, about the show, what we discussed today, or tarot cards, or sound journey, you can email to mail2@cassiopeia.com. Again, it's mail2@cassiopeia.com. And thank you, everyone, both listeners and guests. It was Interactive Tarot on 108live.radio. I'm Kazway, your guide to tarot cards and holistic wellness. Tune in again next Friday at 11 a.m. Until then, bye.
Namaste.
Namaste.